Job. And it's something that we've adopted into our English language a number of times. We have phrases like, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. If you've been to a funeral, you might have heard that and not even know where it comes from, but it seems like I heard that somewhere before. It's from the book of Job. Okay. If you've ever been called one of Job's friends, well, the story of Job's friends are with friends like that, who needs enemies. These were his buddies that comforted him, gave him really bad counsel. They didn't help him at all. The book of Job is probably, most likely, the oldest book, or at least one of the oldest books that exist, period, in all of ancient history. It outdoes the Rosetta Stone, Babylonian cuneiform. It's written in Hebrew, and that's something we'll touch in just a minute. Job is a very, very old book, and especially for being its length that it is, and it enters into philosophy and theology, and all kinds of things come up. We're going to brush on some of these in just a minute. But let's look at the book of Job. Even in modern day today, it's got some real notoriety about it. Like I said, you hear it at funerals. You've heard it. Have you ever heard of being saved by the skin of your teeth? Have you ever heard that? Skin of your teeth is out of the book of Job. Okay, it deals with a lot of things of tragedy and death and close calls, and it's been a very it's been a book that a lot of people have used. Frederick Handel, when he wrote The Messiah, I Know That My Redeemer Lives. That's one of the segments of Handel's Messiah. It's also been looked at by Western literary experts, and it really qualifies along the level of Shakespeare. It really qualifies, Lord Alfred Tennyson. I mean, these are people that looked at the book and said, wow, there is nothing that meets this literary standard. It's an incredible book. And how old is it? I just said maybe 4,000. We can't put an exact date on it, you know. There was no database or digital system at that time recording the exact minute. But we can get some hints. Job calls God by the name that Abraham called God. In other words, Job is clearly talking about Yahweh. We read about him, Elohim. We read that God reveals himself by names, but the name that God revealed to Abraham, that's what Job is calling. So Job is post-Abraham, or at least contemporary. You have to put him back in the era or the time of the patriarchs there. When would we end Job and say he couldn't be later? Well, for inspirational writing, and because of the revelation that he has, he's definitely inspirational. There are things in there that only God could know. It's before the Exodus, let's say. All right. All the scripture, all the prophets, they all talk about God leading the children of Israel out with a high hand. There's a great reference in everything prophetic and the writings of the scripture regarding that. And Moses, of course, was the eyewitness, was the leader at the time. So this is contained in the Pentateuch. But since there's, from Genesis chapter 50 to Exodus chapter 1, you've got 400 years there. And it's likely that Job is at least in that time, if it's that old. Now, also, I want you to know that Job is not only found in the Bible. The book of Job is well known in the Middle East, and it has been for millenniums. The book of Job is nothing new. We find it in our Bible. Look, it's a book of the Bible. Yes, it was canonized, put into the Bible because of the very specific messianic revelation given in it. But Job is clueless about the Exodus. He never mentions that. Now, the Sabaeans fell upon his household and killed his children, took the cattle. If you know the story, hopefully that you will read the story of Job. I'm not going to read it with you. I'm just going to kind of summarize it. The Sabaeans are probably the people, if you remember the story of Solomon, the Queen of Sheba came up to hear his wisdom. And she concluded that the half wasn't even told to me of Solomon's wisdom. You have, she's the Queen of Sheba. And this is most likely archaeologically, I'm not an archaeologist, but many people are. These are the Sabaean people, okay? And the Chaldeans, Abraham was from Ur of the Chaldees. Job was also from a place called Uz. That's all, just Uz. It's Uz. And that's where we live, that's where we live, down there with Uz. Okay, but it's the God of Abraham, but he does the Exodus, so we're going to place Job around that time period. Now, the authorship of the book is, apart from its antiquity, we really don't know, okay? And I'll tell you why. Some people say that Job is a fictional character. It's a story just written hypothetically, what if? But there are many indications that, no, Job was actually a real person. And so there's a conundrum there. Is it fiction? Is it reality? Is Job real, or is he just a made-up character? Well, the consensus probably, and it doesn't diminish his validity, is that he's probably both. Job is a real person. He has a wife, he has children, he has sons and daughters. He's an actual person by all content of the story.